Miss Keisha. All right, guys, who's up because they have money issues, they have credit issues, credit card problems? Drop your questions. I can help you, or I can make some suggestions. Who has high utilization on their credit report? Right? Nobody has questions on about their credit report. What's going on? Who has charge-offs, collections? Y'all share this life with somebody that's awake too. It has money on their mind, can't sleep. Thank you. Appreciate your comment. Do you guys know that you can leverage? All right, Miss Keisha, I'm gonna talk about that right now. You can leverage your credit cards to start a business. I don't know if you guys have to go to work tomorrow or not. If you have to go to work for somebody else, you can leverage your credit cards to start a business. You can use your credit cards to, I'm partnered up with Andy. You guys can use your credit cards to buy lots. You guys can use your credit cards to buy houses. You guys can buy your credit cards to buy machines, trucks, cars, anything you guys want to or need in order to start a business. So don't think of a credit card just as a like a plastic thing that you guys have to go use at a store and swipe it. That's what I'm talking about, Miss Keisha. So I just had an LLC challenge. We just ended it on Saturday. And basically, I had a handful of people go through the challenge, and what they're doing is what they're supposed to have done is incorporate their LLC. And when you incorporate the LLC, or when you start an LLC, you're able to start building business credit on it. Essentially, what you can use the business, you can use a business credit and then pass it down to your kids. Where if you just have personal credit, you're not able to pass that down to your kids if you pass. So business and business credit is the perfect way to start generational wealth. If you have high utilization, is it on all the cards or just some cards? If you have like cushion on other cards that you have on your report, then you're able to transfer the balances back and forth between the cards to lower the utilization. And you do that by making sure that you transfer down or pay down the cards by the statement date. So you just have to hustle and pay down the cards by the statement date, and then 2 days later you're able to start using the cards again. So you can rack up the cards and then do the same thing and just bounce the utilization back and forth between the cards, and that way the low balances reflect on the credit report. What's the cushion? How much cushion do you have between all the cards, Miss Keisha? What other credit card or credit report questions do you guys have? Who has a business on here and is not building business credit on it? You're leaving money on the table. There's lenders that will lend you up to $250,000 on your business, and you're able to use that money to expand your business, to buy to do marketing on your business, and it doesn't reflect on your personal credit. And the limit is obviously higher than it is on the personal side, and the interest rates are a lot lower than they would be compared to the personal side. So if you're not working on the business credit, you're leaving money on the table. You have $30,000. So Ms. Keisha, you're able to hide the utilization. So bounce the balances back and forth between the cards, and make sure that you pay down the balance on the cards by the statement date. And once, like 1 or 2 days after the statement date, you're able to use that card again, basically max it out, so you're able to take that money out and then pay down the other card. So just keep track of the statement dates, and then just make sure that you pay down the cards by the statement date. That way the high balance doesn't reflect on the credit report. Who else has questions about their credit report? Their business credit. Who has a business in here and is not working on the business credit? You guys are not doing yourselves a favor. My pleasure, Miss Keisha. Are there any other questions about credit report? If you have more than 2 inquiries on your credit report, and you still have, let's say that you have a fundable credit score, shame on you, Tia, for not working on your business credit. Let's say that you have a 720 credit score, which is what I recommend my clients have. Excuse me. Before they apply for credit cards, and you have more than 2 inquiries on your credit report, there's some lenders that are going to deny you. So you're able to remove any inquiries that are not attached to a credit card. And I encourage that anything, if you have a credit card that has an inquiry on there, don't touch it. Because if you try to dispute the inquiry, they're going to, the lender might shut down the card. So don't dispute the inquiry. I dispute all inquiries, but I know how to go around that and get my cards open back up again. But I don't recommend that you guys do that. If it's a car note, if it's a mortgage, if it's a loan, anything that's not in an open credit card, you are able to take the inquiry off your credit report. And I encourage you to do that because, like I mentioned earlier, if you apply, there's certain banks, if you have more than 2 inquiries on the report, they'll go ahead and automatically deny you. So remove those inquiries. Collections, charge-offs, even though they might be old, like older than 2 years, they're still affecting your credit score. So there's different accounts that build your credit report, right? You have to have a mortgage, you have to have car notes, lines of credit, credit cards, all that compromises or builds your credit score. So you have to have a little bit of everything. In total, at least 10 accounts open. I'm able to add primary car notes and mortgages right now. So DM me if you need that. What's your guys' credit score? Drop it in the comments. Don't be afraid or embarrassed. I started off when I started my credit journey, I started off with a 549. And within 6 months, I got myself to an 800. So we all start somewhere. Let's see. All right, guys, if you know somebody, 750. If you know somebody that is up because they have credit on their mind, share this life with them. Crypto Greg, is this Greg? There you go. Share this life with somebody that's got to go to work tomorrow and they have a bad score. You can use your credit cards to start a business. Is who's been wanting to start a business but just doesn't have the money to do it? Drop a money bag in the comments. Jackie Shaitia, I probably chopped your name up, I'm sorry. What's the first thing you do to raise your score? You remove any negatives that you have on there. Any collections, charge-offs, late payments, bankruptcies. All right, ladies, what did you guys want to start? The 2 ladies that dropped the money back there, what type of business do you guys want to start? So start off by removing any negatives that you have on your credit report. And then once you have maybe 1 to 2, are you working with somebody for your credit? Once you have 1 or 2 negative accounts on there, then I recommend that you start adding some positive primary accounts on there. Because at that point, once you're down to 1 to 2 negatives, you should be close to removing all the negatives. So that's when you add trade lines on there, primary trade lines. If you guys add authorized users, there's some lenders that don't even recognize the authorized users. So if you add trade lines, and these trade lines, they're hefty. They cost a lot of money. So add like the South, the rent reporters, go on Experian Boost and add Experian Boost. Greg, yes, I've been MIA, but I'm back still working on my credit. Thanks to you. I'm happy, Greg. Don't give up. Having a 720 opens so many doors, guys. I have an 800 credit score, and I swear I get calls. I don't get calls like collection calls. This stupid lenders offering me money all day, every day. I'm thinking it's business, and they're just so annoying. Photography and coaching. Jackie, you can use, did you say you had a 7? I think you were in the mid 7s, right? You can apply for credit cards, and then use those credit cards. I don't know if you have a camera or like the equipment to get into photography or not, but you're able to get the equipment that you need in order to get into photography using your credit cards. So what you're doing is you're leveraging your business and not using your own money. But what I would do before you do anything else is start an LLC if you haven't done so yet. Do you have an LLC yet? Cass, I am. Real estate, going to Andy's classes. Okay, great. I'm going to see you there. I'm going to be talking about the financial side, like where to get the cards and how to take the money out of the cards. Jackie, Shaitia, no, I'm not. Remind me, Jackie, what's your credit score again? I'm sorry. So what you essentially do is once you have a 720, you can apply for the cards and buy the equipment that you're trying to, or that you need in order to start the business. And, my credit is a 570, really low. I have late payments, and I have a sole proprietor, not LLC yet. All right, lady. Sole proprietors. With a sole proprietor, there's no protection. So I'm gonna give you an example. I would just say that you're taking pictures of me, right? And you tell me to sit on a rock, and I go sit on a rock, and I fall back and I break my arm, right? So now I can turn around and sue you and basically say that Jackie told me to sit on the rock, and she didn't tell me how to sit or where not to sit. So it's her fault. I'm out of work for 2, 3, 4 weeks, 6 months, however long. So now what I can do is sue you for $100,000 or whatever it is that my heart desires, right? And instead of, if you had this, your company under an LLC, what I can do now is I can take everything that belongs to you, to include your dogs, if I choose to. So if you have an LLC, the only thing I'm able to sue you for is what's under that LLC. So stop with the sole proprietor and then get an LLC. It's for protection purposes. And then as far as the 570 goes, I started off in the mid 5s. So even though your score is low, mine was lower. I have an 800 credit score, so it just depends on how hungry you are to get it up to at least a 720. Get it up to at least a 720. And once you do, you'll be able to start applying for cards like the high limit cards. They'll start you off with like $25,000, $15,000. And then you're able to use that to get into your photography business. But at the same time, incorporate. I just had a challenge. I just finished a challenge. So I'm about to start actually I opened up the link for the August LLC challenge. So hop on my profile, and within 48 hours tops, you should have had completed your LLC if you follow the steps. Start the LLC and then build business credit on the LLC. And then that way you're able to get higher limits and the interest rates are lower. And at the same time, you're able to apply for funding using your personal Social Security number. Does that help you? But I would start removing, if you can't afford a credit repair specialist. I do credit repair. But if you can't afford one, then I would start by removing the negative accounts. So what do you do about charge-offs? Charge-offs. Okay, with charge-offs, let's say you're Wells Fargo and I am Gigi, and you lent me $6,000, right? So after you lent me $6,000 and I haven't paid you that money in 6 months, what you're going to do, because you're in the business of making money and losing money. So now what you're going to do is you're going to turn around and tell the IRS, basically tell them like, hey, Gigi hasn't paid me the $6,000 that she owed me. I've attempted to collect the debt for the past 6 months. So what the IRS does now is they give Wells Fargo a credit on that debt. So at that point, the debt is considered paid in full. But what Wells Fargo does is they go ahead and sell the debt to a collection agency. So once they sell the debt to a collection agency, they've committed tax fraud. But because we as consumers are not educated on it, we just let them do it. So now the collection agencies over there trying to collect money on us. When you get the notice from the collection agency, because they are going to go after you, ask them to send you the contract that that has your signature and the collection agency's signature on them, and that binds you, or that basically says that you owe them the debt. They're not going to be able to give you that. So at that point, they need to stop contacting you. And if they continue to contact you, then you can invoice them anywhere from $250 to $1,000. Does that make sense? And another thing you can do, I'm so sorry, my throat. Another thing you can do is ask him for the ledger. Ask whoever you have, whoever the owner of the account is, ask them for the ledger. So on there, you'll be able to see what all has happened to that account. And if there was a credit at one point from the IRS, you'll be able to see it on the account ledger. Thank you. This is so good. Literally not taught this. Yes, ma'am. I know. I told you I learned the hard way. I was so when I started the credit repair, I started off with myself. I was married and he was a gambler. So when we separated, all the debt that was under our names, I ended up being responsible for it. So I had to choose between feeding my kids or taking care of the debt, and I chose to feed my kids. So I had collection agencies calling me left and right at work. So I had to learn how to shut them up quick and then get rid of the debt as fast as I could. And you're right, this is stuff that we don't get taught. Is there any other questions that you guys have? All right. Share this live with anybody that you know that's up because they have credit report issues, financial issues. I highly encourage you guys to start to open an LLC and start building business credit on it. You're seriously leaving money on the table for not if you don't have you don't even have to know what you want to open the LLC on. Just open an LLC. It can be, name it something consulting, name it your first name and then consulting. And you don't even have to do consulting, but just open the LLC, start building business credit, or even use it to get credit, get your credit right. And then now you have money from the business and then you have money from the personal side too at the same time. What other questions do you guys have? Who wants to get into real estate? I know there was somebody on here that's going to the September boot camp. Cass, I am. I sent you the email today. You don't have any other questions about your credit report, your credit score, incorporating your business, starting a business, anything. Like, y'all are up for a reason. Shark World. If you don't have the money to get into real estate, what I started doing is I started wholesaling. I don't do it anymore. I don't have the patience or the time to wholesale. So if I do get a property under my belt, and it's not my niche. Like, my niche is around the military, so around military bases. So if it's not around a military base, I don't buy the house. I'll just buy it. I mean, I do buy it, but then I sell it. I don't keep it. So you can start off wholesaling. Will it hurt if I change my business name? It's actually going to benefit you. No Lies 5616. It'll benefit you if you change your name. It'll benefit you if it's let's say if it's a high risk industry name. By that I mean if, like, you have real estate on the name, if you have trucking, if you have credit repair, if you have high risk industries on the name, the lender might lend you less money, or they might just deny you out front. So you can change it. It'll benefit you. It'll benefit you to change the name. And if as far as the address, I recommend that you have virtual addresses. Don't have your personal address on the LLCs. And that's because the personal or the address on the LLC is public. So if you piss me off as your client or whatever, I can just Google the name or go into the Secretary of State website and get the address to the business. And if it's your personal business, now I know where you live. Does that make sense? I'm all about security and privacy. And it's aside from that, when lenders Google you, because they will Google you, you want to seem like a legit company. So if you Google Target, you Google Walmart, Goodwill, those mama papa shops, you see a headquarters address, you see a 1-800 number. So they look like legit companies. And even though you're a small company, or you might be a small company, you want to seem like you're a legit company. So get an office space, a virtual address. I think I have one on my profile that reports to the business bureaus. And if you use, I'm gonna affiliate with them. So if you use them, they'll give you $100 off, I think, the first month. What other questions do you guys have? has a business and has their personal address on there right now? Or who wants to start a business and hasn't started one yet? You know that you guys can start a business for your kids right now if you have kids, and you can start building the business credit for your kids, and you guys can start using the business credit. So the business credit, if you do it, there's 5 tiers, and if you hit it hard, it'll take anywhere from 6 to 9 months to build. And then at that point, you're able to use the business as its own person to apply for credit. I have an LLC, but I need to change the address to a virtual one. Yes, ma'am, you do. You can do it when you file taxes. It's faster and easier. Or go on the Secretary of State and then make a correction on it. I believe the fees are less if you make a correction on the LLC than it is if you make an amendment. So try to make a correction on it first, and then if that doesn't work, then obviously do an amendment. There's 2 states that I recommend that you incorporate the business. So you don't have to have, let's say that you live in Kentucky. You don't have to start the LLC in Kentucky. So you don't have to start it in your home state. You can start the LLC anywhere you want to in the U.S. And then as you, let's say that the main concern is there's like smaller banks that won't let you apply for funding unless you do business in that state. So then what you do at that point is you register the business as a foreign entity in that state in order to be able to apply for funding. Does that make sense? And that's how you're able to get funding nationwide with your business. You're able to basically, you're welcome. You register the business as a foreign entity in that state, and then you're able to apply for business funding. You have to get a virtual address, obviously. Yes, ma'am, my pleasure. What are the questions you guys have? I know you guys aren't just up because you feel like being up. Y'all got something on your head. What's up, Mauricio? My throat is scratchy. I'm sorry, you guys. How many credit cards do you guys have? Drop the number in the comments. Y'all shouldn't have less than 10 credit cards. If you have over a 720. Three, no lies, 5616. What's your credit score? 2, no, guys. Three and 2 cards. No less than 10 credit cards. You shouldn't have less than 10 credit cards. Do you guys know how to 712? Do you have late payments on there? Or is it inquiries maybe that are dropping your score? No lies, 5616. You have 3. Credit score is 807. Let me guess, Mauricio, you're about, I used to, Mauricio and I, when I worked for the government, he was a Marine. He was a Marine in the office that I used to work at. All right, guys, for anybody that has under a 720, you guys are either battling with late payments, charge-offs, collections, Even inquiries drop your score. You need to remove that and start getting apply for credit cards. Mauricio, you have an 800. There's no reason why you should have 3 cards. What are your limits on the cards in total? All right, so if you have low limits, in order to get a CLI, a credit limit increase, you have to use your cards. Okay, Cass, I'm gonna talk about that. If you have low limits, in order to get a credit limit increase, you have to use your cards. So you have to make sure that you use your cards, max them out, pay them down, max them out and pay them down. And do that multiple times throughout the month. Just make sure that you pay them down by the statement date. And then after doing that for 3 months, you're able to call the lender and basically say, hey, I've been using my cards and I've been using them for the past 3 months or so or whatever. And can you guys give me a credit limit increase? And they're either going to say yay or nay. So if you have a 720, there shouldn't be a reason that they deny you. If you have a 720 and you've been making the payments on time. So that's how you get credit limit increases. Mauricio, you have 33, total 33,000. You're leaving money on the table. I buy houses using my credit cards. So on the personal side right now, I probably have like $60,000, and that's because I bought a house. So either get a credit limit increases, or what I would do is I would apply to hit up American Express. Fidelity's another one. They have high limits. And then what I would do, Mauricio, is if you haven't done so yet, I would start an LLC, and then I would start building business credit on the LLC so that you can use the business to apply for funding as well. So now you're doubling up. You're using the business and you're using your personal credit. And for those of you that just joined, I was talking about the LLCs, where if you put the LLC under a trust, you build business credit on it. Let's say that you have $1 million of business credit on the LLC. You put it under a trust. You're able to pass that trust down to whoever it is that you want to pass it down to, whoever the beneficiaries are. Where if you have, I don't know, $100,000, $200,000 of personal credit, once you pass, that's it. You can't pass that credit down. So that's the benefit of having a business credit. Does that make sense? So after this, we should all start a business, right? And start building business credit on it. I have an ebook. So if you guys need assistance on it, I have an ebook, and then I have the challenge in August. I think it's for the 10th of August. It's on my Linktree, my profile. Mauricio, always shoot for the moon. I used to work in credit cards with Bank of America, and our representatives use a system, and it has us enter an amount. You either get it, the bank meets halfway, declines, or has you. Speak to a credit analyst. If I were to tell you that I know how to go around that and get high limits on the cards, that's what I learned how to do. I can outsmart you. Bank of America does have they do offer. Do you want to hop online, Mauricio? So you can talk about their products? Do you know about their business products? They have they offer business loans or business car loans to new LLCs. Are you familiar with that? All right. What other credit questions do you have? Yeah, I've been meaning to do that. Bank of America won't give me a business credit card because I don't have a business. But even then, their system declines clients who haven't had a business for 2 years. You only worked on the business side, not on the personal side, not business. They give out car notes for businesses, for newly opened businesses, Mauricio. That's one of their perks. Do you want to talk about their do you want to hop online and talk about their personal site then, since you work there? If you there's lenders like Ally that will lend you for your business a car. They will give you a loan for a car note on your business.
What's going on?
Turn your light on.
No. I'm taking off the cameras, man. I'm about to go to sleep.
Let's see. Talk about the personal credit card.
So from my time when I was with them, and they still have most of them now, if you're looking at the secured cards, mainly well, of course, secured cards, you have some of the few options. The biggest thing that I
All right.
always found when people,
So he's Mauricio used to work for Bank of America, the personal credit
yeah, on
department.
the personal, yeah, so it was personal, it was all deposit products, deposit, credit, personal products. That's what I used to work in.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but so as far as like the credit cards that they offer on the secured side, a lot of people would always call in and say, "Hey, I want a student card." What people fail to realize is that on the website, that all that is just marketing. The regular secured cards for a random person who's just calling in is the same card that's going to be offered to you if you are a student or not. But those you have the cash rewards card, and then you also had the Bank America card. So those are the two main options that you have. Of course, the cash rewards card is good, but people fail to realize that you only got those rewards once you actually got up to the $2,500 limit for the rewards that you got back. So if you spent $2,500 in one day on the card, everything that you earn on that goes back to 1%. And the
Mhm.
same goes for the unsecured side, where you are just putting up your credit worthiness for whatever rewards you're earning. And on the unsecured side, you had more options. You had the platinum card, which was either by request only. Um, sorry, all my homies are tapping in right now. They think that I'm talking about hats, but we're just talking about credit. But Fabian, Heido, everyone who's in here right now, this is good talk. This is one of my old friends. I'll call her a friend now, but we used to work together when we were in the military. And if anyone needs financial advice, I would definitely reach out for sure. But yeah, so in regards to the unsecured side, we had the platinum card, which was applicable only by invitation or by request. It was never something that we recommended because of the requirements that were needed behind it. So, all user as well. If you want to talk about credit boosting, uh, I'll still call you Miss Reyes. I don't know if you go by a different name now. Gigi, I saw that, or Griselda, whichever one you want. But yes, user is I've been reaching out with him from time to time to talk about that. But yeah, so of course the platinum card, the cash rewards card is the most common one that we would get applications for just because of the bonuses that you would get,
Mhm.
from actually being invitation, which of course the bonus is cool because it is free money. And most of the time you'll get anywhere between 15 to 18 billing cycles, not months, at 0% interest. And it wouldn't be what do they call that? Deferred interest, where you would pay that back versus
Mhm.
like a retail credit card Like if you're going through like Best Buy, Home Depot, Lowe's, all of those are deferred interest cards where although you have 0% for a certain period, you pay that interest back if you don't pay it to zero by the
Hmm.
time your promotional period is over. So that's a big one there that people fail to realize. But the bank doesn't have that. So we had that, the travel rewards card, which is very complicated in the way that you actually redeem the rewards, but earning them can be fairly easy. And then also the Bank of America card, which is we called it the low credit card, which would give you a higher uh, credit line, a better interest rate, but you had no rewards on there. It was just a basic credit card to help you build that. But yeah, Best Buy got you like that. Okay, yeah, just don't get got. You know what I'm saying? Just read the fine line when it comes to the credit cards. But yeah, those are the main ones that we had. And as far as other personal products, it was certificate of deposits, but rates are stupid low. You can take a look at those on the website right now. Then of course, like auto loans, we would do business credit cards, but I would just fill out the application and read a script. I had no idea what I was talking about. Um, it's
Like,
true.
right, that hasn't changed.
No, 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 not at all. Reading the script stuff, I have no idea what I'm talking about. Hey, what do you want me to say? Okay, cool. You know. But yeah, auto loans and all kinds of things. But yeah, I'm definitely interested in what you had to say as far as like, because like when you said if what my credit score is now, like not having 10 credit cards, like what do you mean by that? Like you just said I was leaving money on the table. I'm curious
You
as to what you mean
are
by that.
you are Mauricio because you're able to use credit. I don't know, you're into hats, so I don't know how you pay for your hats. Are you using your own money or how are you paying for the hats?
I just use my own money. I mean, right now, like, so here's my situation. I literally live on my own. I have my house now, but I just use my own like income that I use and put to the side from my paycheck from my 9 to 5, and that's what I use to pay for it. I also have side hustles where I get additional money coming in, and then also selling hats from time to time to make more off of that. But yeah, that's what I use.
So what you can do instead of using your own money, because I don't know how much you get paid, all you need in order to get like a $25,000 card is a 720. Bro, you have an 800. Like you can apply anywhere and get at least $25,000 from jump. So if you do that, now you're able to use the credit cards to buy the hats. In this case, buy the hats. And as you're using the credit cards to buy the hats, you're getting rewards points, right? So one of my cards pays me anywhere from 800 to 1200, $1,300 per month because I use it in rewards. So it's paying me
Yeah.
back. Where if you're using your own money from your debit card, you're not getting anything in return besides a deduction from your checking account.
Yeah, I mean that's what I use. Like I'll use my like as far as like what you're saying, like honestly what you're saying as far as using your credit card to get those points for cash back or travel or whatever the case may be, that's what I do. But
Mhm.
like I don't go too crazy with it because then I don't like to overextend myself. So like I kind of take the approach of if I can't pay for it out of pocket, I don't want to put it on credit to put it down. Now, like of course with some of the cards that I have, because like I said, I only have 3 cards. Bank of America has given me the largest line of credit. And then I
Mhm.
have my city card that I use with Best Buy, but I use that very sparingly. Like I literally just use that to buy a refrigerator, you know,
Mhm.
and then I'll use my card that I still have with USAA, which is still a student card, and it only has a $3,000 limit, but that's what I use for my day to day. I'll use it for my gas, my groceries, buy my hats on there and then pay it back right away. But I get what you're saying though, because we would say the same thing. It's like, hey, whatever you're buying, put it on the credit card to get that, use those bills that you have to pay, put them on auto pay. If you have to pay them anyway and the money's coming out of your account, why not use that money to make more money, you know?
Right. Hmm. So, what do you do now? What do you do for a living?
I still work at the bank, but I moved departments, so now I'm a mortgage loan coordinator.
Okay. Do you like what you do?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty decent. It's better than where I was before because my last department dealt with sales, and I am not the best when it comes to sales. That's for sure. I mean, it's to me, the reason why is because like for me, in order for me to sell something, I have to believe in it. And the department, the way that they ran it was very pushy. So
Mhm.
they couldn't like now in the industry, when it comes to financial industry, you can't like tell someone that works there like, hey, you need 5 credit cards or you need 10 credit cards in a week, right? But what they do now, at least with where I worked before, they would go off of offer rates. So if you see when you log in or when someone calls in, they pull up your profile, they can see who's calling in, and they'll have opportunities based off of previous purchases or previous, what transactions that you've done within like the
Hmm.
mobile banking app. Like if you've even clicked on the credit card to know a little bit more about it, it lets the system know and it
Hmm.
says, hey, this person has looked at it. Go ahead and bring it back up to them to see if they're interested to proceed. That's how
Yeah.
their system works.
Mm.
So like with me, I would bring it up and be like, hey, have you looked at this? And in certain cases, they may not have like the best credit score, but of course, we can't deny them that. But we still have to at least try to offer it. But in some cases, like when a client would call in and they would have like, you know, $20 in their savings account and like $47 in their checking account, but yet you're still having me offer them a certificate of deposit, auto loan, home mortgage, like, things like that. It's and I would ask them, are these your only accounts? Yeah, that's all the money I have. It's like, why do I need to do that? So me pushing those products on there, that's why I decided to leave. So my job now is very reminiscent of what I used to do when I was in the military. So it definitely was a different experience.
Well, I'm going to encourage you because I do know you and I've known you for a very long time that I feel like you're better than working for somebody else. And you can use credit cards to start doing something that you actually love, not that is just okay. Like the program that I have and that my partner does, like whatever we do together, um, we give out a list of lenders, and it's at least maybe like 20 lenders on there. These people that we put through the program are able to get at least $200,000 in credit, and they're able to leverage that credit to jump real estate, or if they're not doing the real estate with Andy, then I can get them to jump into whatever type of business they want to jump into that they
Hmm.
actually love. It's not just okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, as far as like when it comes to that, I get what you're saying is like using those credit lines and using them in a multitude of different ways to actually use that line of credit. But when you say use it, like you're talking about actually cashing out that amount and using it as like a earnest deposit or like a down payment. Is that what you mean?
So if it's real estate, like I don't build from the ground up, but my partner does, right?
Hmm.
Um, Houses using my credit card. So if I'm going to buy a house, then what I do is I use a third party service and I send that money over to the attorney's office. Or if you're in a different state, obviously you go through a mortgage company. But for
Yeah.
me, I would wire that money directly from my credit card to the attorney's office, and then I would take possession of that car, and depending on whether I'm going to keep it to rent it, obviously I'm gonna fix it or do whatever I need to do with it. Excuse me. Or I'll just sell it if it's not like I only buy around military. So if it's not around a military base, then I'll sell it to somebody who's interested in that house, and then I just made a profit. When I sell the house, I'll take the proceeds from the sale, pay down the card, and I just made a profit, not using my own money. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, definitely. But that's what I mean is like taking the money out of the cards. Like you're talking about like a cash advance out of the
Yeah.
cards, or what do you
Uh,
like? So how do you pay your attorney with a credit card? I mean, I've never had an attorney. I don't, like those kind of things. I mean, I appreciate the knowledge, and I definitely will be taking that to heart for sure. But like with me, the only experience I have as far as pulling out money is like one of two ways. Like if your bank offers you like a direct deposit,
mhm,
a lot of people confuse that with like a direct deposit from their individual, um, you know, employers, right? Like they're 95, it gets direct deposit into their account. But what people don't see sometimes is that on certain cards, some cards do allow you to use that credit line as a cash advance with a small fee. But you have, it can be anywhere from 13 months, 15 months, 17, oh, sorry, not months, billing cycles at 0% to do whatever you want to be able to pay it back. And
mhm,
now that you're saying this, it does make sense because I would have guys who would do that. Like their credit line would be 30, $40,000, and it'd be like, hey, I'd like to go ahead and take my full card out as much as I can. And then I
mhm.
would look at their payment history, and they would just do that, like take the money out, pay it back, and then use it for whatever.
Yeah, I don't use cash advance, Mauricio, because most of the lenders, their cash advance fees are hefty. They're like in the 20s, 30s. I don't know what the interest rate is, but it's a lot higher than it is if you just swipe the card like for a regular product. So what
Yeah.
I is I use Plastique. So that's one of the methods I use. Is it's a third party service, right? And I use Plastique. Basically, you give the, in my case, I would give the attorney's information, and then I would link my credit card to Plastique, and then they have a fee. They obviously have a fee, but after using it for such a long time, they were giving me credits, so my fees were not high. Um,
Oh,
so then they would take that money directly out of my card, and
mm,
then spit it out over to the attorney's office, and then that's how
okay,
on the hefty cash advance fees. That's one method. And then the second method I would use, I don't do this anymore. Like I upgraded. Um, but what you can do too is you're able to um, buy a gift card with your credit card, and then with the gift card, go buy a money order. And you better not
okay.
go to America, dude, because if you do, we're not friends no more.
No, 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 no. I get what you're saying. But no, what I'm saying is like with the cash advances, like I get what you're saying because like in certain cases, if you don't have a promotional offer for it, which I'm not sure if most of the banks are doing so now, but I know with mine, even for like employees like myself, they still offer that to where you can get up to your full credit line with a small fee, which would be like 3%. Like
That's
3%. I've seen,
that's on
yeah,
top of
so
your fee.
but that's after but you won't see any of the cash advance fees, which of course on a credit card you have four categories, right? You have your balance transfer
Hmm.
category, you have your everyday purchases, you have your direct deposit, and then cash advance. So there's normally when you see those, and you'll see those on your credit card, like it'll be closer to the bottom. Yeah, you'll see the breakdown of where your transactions go on your statement for those individual categories. So a lot of people don't know this, but like they'll look at their credit card and say, okay, cool, my purchase interest rate is 16.99%, right? But they won't see that their cash advance is 28.99%. So when they use their credit card at like uh, an ATM, or they use it to pull out cash, like cash back at a register, that's where they'll get, that interest charge on there. So it's just
Hmm.
like important for people to realize that as well. But
The thing
mhm,
that too is as you're doing the cash advance and you're making the minimum payment on it, they're
mhm.
only taking like a small portion to go towards the cash advance, and the rest of it is going towards the actual, like the regular
Yeah,
daily.
that's if you have balances within the other categories. So if let's say you have like 30,000 on a credit card and you do a cash advance for 25, but you only use 25, all of it is going towards that. And the
Mhm.
way that at least that they did it with us was whenever you made the payment, it would always pay anything above the minimum payment for that bill would go towards the highest category first.
Minimum.
Um, yeah, yeah, for after the minimum, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, so that's how they get you guys. And that's why, at least with me, we're not doing cash advances. With my partner too, if we're working together with the real estate, we're not doing cash advances, and that's because we're avoiding the hefty cash advance fees. Other ways to be able to take your money out of your card and into what.
Sorry, it cut out there. What'd you say?
Yeah, I'm saying we're not doing cash advance.
No, 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 no. I was just saying. I was just like wondering to see how you did that. But yeah, we're gonna have to talk. Just because I can't get too crazy over my job over Instagram because they'll fire me for it. So,
I get it. All right, Mauricio, thank you for jumping
all
online,
right,
and
I appreciate it. I'm gonna have to hit you up later.
please do.
All right, all right, bye.
What? Bye. All right, so you guys heard it from a customer or somebody that works from at Bank of America. All right, do you guys have any other questions about credit repair or anything like that? So we don't do cash advance here. There's other methods to take your money out of your credit card and not get those hefty double-digit fees. You guys can use Plastique to send the money to wherever you're trying to send it to, or you can go buy gift cards and then transfer those gift cards into money orders. And eventually, what you're doing is you can do that method to be able to request a credit limit increase. So you just take the money or buy a gift card, and then with the using the credit card, and then from there You buy a money order, you deposit the money order into your bank account, and then you pay down the card, and you do that multiple times throughout the month, and then that's how you're able to basically max out the card, collect rewards points, and request a credit limit increase eventually. I get one of my cards pays me at least anywhere from $800 to like $1,200, $1,300 a month, just for using it on rewards points. So I don't use my debit card for anything. Do you guys have any other questions? G Turner Junior 995. What type of what type of gift cards do you buy to do that? Can call card do that? What's a call card? I don't know what a call card is, but no, I use vanilla gift cards, and it could either be a Visa or a MasterCard. You just have to make sure that you're able to put a pin on that gift card. So essentially, it's like the machines that you use them will treat it as a debit card, because you're not able to use a money order to buy. You're not able to use a credit card to buy a money order, but you are able to use a debit card. So that's why you need to get a gift card that you're able to put a 4-digit pin on. And like the local grocery stores or the drugstores, like CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, they have the gift cards, but I think their max is $100. I think it ranges from $50 to $100. If you go to Simon's Mall, you're able to get $500 cards or $1,000 cards, something like that. My pleasure, G Turner. All right, you guys are still up, so share this with 3 people that you know have money on their mind and are still up right now. What other questions do you guys have? Who else on here? There was somebody said that they only had 5 gift card or 5 credit cards. Who was that? Let me see if I can find you. You can, if you have at least a 720, you should at least have 10 gift cards. I'm sorry, credit cards. I have a program. My partner has a program, and once you guys go through it, we give you guys. You have only 3. We give you guys a lender's list, and if you hit that list up, if you hit that list up, obviously you have to have a strong credit report profile. You're able to get at least $200,000, and just to be discreet, $100,000. But you'll be able to make at least 6 digits just applying for all those cards. And then when you have a list of cards, let's say that you have 720 across the board, no lates, no bankruptcies, no more than 2 inquiries, and you guys have a list of card or lenders that you want to apply to, do apply to all those cards, all those lenders at one time. And the reason you're going to do that is because you don't want to apply to, let's say, 5 lenders right now, and then you apply to another 5 lenders like 2 days from now, and then you're just doing them days in between, because by the time that you do the second round, that first round of lenders already put a hard inquiry on your report. So at that point, you have, I don't know, five inquiries on your report, and a lot of lenders will automatically deny you if you have more than 2 inquiries on your report. And you're able to remove any inquiries that are not attached to an open credit card. So you can have a mortgage, you can have a car note, you can have a line of credit, you can have any of those open, and you're still able to remove the inquiries. I don't recommend that you remove the inquiries on an open credit card, because if you do, once you dispute it with the bureaus, they're going to contact the lenders. Most likely they will, and then they'll shut your cards down. Does anybody have bankruptcies on their credit report? Bankruptcies on here? Or do you know somebody that has a bankruptcy on their report? The bankruptcies should not be on the credit reports. What the bureaus do is that there's a database in which all the bankruptcy information is in there. And what they do is they go fishing for that information. They go into that database and get the information for the individuals that have bankruptcies, and then they report it. The only information that should be reported on the credit reports is information that's being sent to them, and that's whatever the financial institutions sent to them. So they shouldn't be fishing for that information. So you're able to remove the bankruptcies the day of, the day after. You don't have to wait the 7 or 10 years, whatever the limit is. What other questions do you guys have? Let's see. Who has collections on here? Does anybody have any collection accounts on there in your report? If you know anybody that has collection accounts, or if you have collection accounts on there, like, hospital bills. There's with hospital bills, no lies, they are so there's a new law. If it hasn't come into effect, is about to come into effect. There's a new policy. It's not a law, but basically they're giving the bureaus or the consumers more time to pay the hospital bills before they actually report it onto the credit reports. I don't even pay attention to that because hospital bills shouldn't even be on your credit report. So what you do is you send a letter to the bureaus asking them to validate the account. And they're going to go ahead and verify that account with whoever is has the hospital bill. And then what you can do too is send a letter to whoever has a hospital bill and ask them to give you a detailed bill of whatever they're charging you, of whatever they're charging you. After that, what you're going to do is you're going to send both, if it's in a collection status, you're going to send a collection agency, and you're going to send a letter to the collection agency and the bureau. And you're basically going to tell them that they're violating your HIPAA law or your HIPAA rights. And once they see HIPAA on there, they get scared because there's a thin line of the information that they're able to divulge, as far as once you ask them to verify the information. If they tell you or anybody else that you have cancer, or I don't know, like whatever, like a diagnosis, that's when they violate your HIPAA rights. They only need to be able, or they only need to tell the bureaus or the collection agency or whoever that what the procedures that were done, not the diagnosis. So essentially they don't want to deal with court or any fees. So once they see HIPAA on the letter, they typically tend to just remove the collection from your account. They don't want to deal with it. Giovanni Jarrett, my girlfriend has a clean credit report and mine is bad. I have the income and she doesn't. When we get married, can we get a mortgage? No, sir, you cannot. You need to clean your credit report up. Let me ask you, what's holding you back from cleaning your report? Like if you have the money to get it fixed, how come you, and this is for Giovanni Jarrett, if you have the money to get it fixed, why wouldn't you get it fixed? That's, I'm wondering. There's a lot of people that don't have the money, and that's why they have a bad credit report. But you say you have the income. Depending on the type of loan that you're getting to, I believe. Don't quote me on the credit score. I do have a lender and a realtor that I work with, so I can refer you to her. I believe you have to have like a minimum of a 680 in order to be able to buy or get a mortgage. Don't quote me on the number. But what I am wondering, if you can, let me know why you're not cleaning up your credit if you have the income. Strictly hustling. I came on late, Gigi. Did you answer how long should funds be in your bank account if you use the gift card? You can just, as soon as you deposit the money, you can just go ahead and turn around and pay the credit card. It doesn't have to be in the bank account for a number of days. I haven't started yet because this is from Giovanni Jarrett. I haven't started yet because it's really bad, so I figured it would take very long to get fixed. That sounds like an excuse to me. I started off with a 549. This was years ago. I started off with a 549, and within 6 months, I got myself to an 800. So this was years ago. If I would have known the information that I know now back then, I would have been able to do it maybe like in 1 to 2 months. So if you don't take action now and you feel like it's bad, then when will you? Is it going to get better by itself? I don't know. I'm just wondering. But I will be looking to start this month. Good. It's we all have like a rough patch, right? Like we all go through rough patches, and there's no reason to let that like hinder us or prevent us from getting more credit. I get it if we have like if we're not financially responsible, then fixing your credit is not what you should start doing. Is like when if you're not able to handle your finances, like you're constantly going into collections after you fix your credit report, then what you should do is get into financial counseling. Like talk to somebody about your finances in a way to I don't know, like learn how to handle your finances. Because if you go into a hole and you're continuing to get into that hole after you fix your report, then it's not it's not a patch that you're going through. That's a lifestyle, and that's what you need to talk about. I have mostly late payments and collections from last year. All of it happened in the last year. So I'm gonna tell you guys, I've been doing this for such a long time. I'm able to tell when people have like when it's a lifestyle, when they're just not able to manage their payments, or they really weren't educated on finances. And then I'm able to tell when people go through rough patches. Like you're saying, it all happened in the last 2 years. That tells me that you had a rough patch. This isn't your lifestyle. And you can tell when it's a lifestyle because you see the ongoing late payments and collections, and the what is it, the paycheck loans or whatever they're called. You see them for a long time. So I mean, if it was just for 2 years, Giovanni, don't let it go longer. Like just hop on your credit report, and the sooner you start, the sooner it's over with, and you're able to jump into something different and put that behind you. Gigi, people get frustrated with the credit bureaus. Can you explain that an actual human being um, does not really read your dispute letter? They don't. What happens is the credit bureaus put it through a machine, right? And unless you call, and this has happened to me multiple times. Unless you call and you ask a representative to see if they received a letter, 8 out of 10 times they're going to tell you that they didn't receive a letter, but if you sent them letter certified, then you're able to tell that they got the letter, and whoever you're speaking to on the other end just doesn't know shit. And that's when they're saying that they don't see it. But what they do is they run the letter through a machine, and that's how the dispute system starts, because the machine takes the letter and it reads it, and then that's how they send the letter out to wherever they send it out to. 9 out of 10 times the accounts do not get verified. So even though you might ask them to verify that account with the lenders, they don't do it. So if you have an address on your report that's connected to like a bad account, a derogatory account, I would what I would do is I would update, if you can, update the address to that derogatory account, or just update the address that you have on there as a whole, for your primary, as a primary account. As a primary address, and then dispute any old addresses on there. And then once you remove any of the old addresses, then start the dispute process, because once you send the dispute letters, this machine is not going to be able to verify the accounts using the address. So you have a 50-50 chance that the accounts are going to get removed with that first dispute letter. So that's one way to get the accounts removed super fast. You're welcome. Yes, I'm ready. If it can get real better in 6 months, I'm ready. Hit me up, Giovanni. Actually, if you guys need credit repair, because I do credit repair, I have a team that that works with me. If you guys need credit repair, here, text ready to 404-458-0893. I'm gonna tell you guys, everybody's credit report is different, but I have such a badass team because I train them. We can get your report A1 within like a month or two. It depends what you have on there. Typically it takes us longer to it takes us longer to remove bankruptcies, because with bankruptcies we're going back and forth with the courthouses. But if it's anything other than bankruptcies, we're usually able to remove the accounts within 1 to 2 months. And you can start running your play once we get you to a 720. And I don't know if you guys go on my stories and my testimonials, so I put the results on there. I'm getting better at it. I don't do it all the time, but I'm getting better at it. Do you guys have any other questions? What else do you have in your report, Giovanni? You say you have lates, collections. So with the collections, like I forget the lady's name. What I was telling the lady that was on earlier, with the collections, basically you have to send a letter to the collection agency and ask them to send you guys a contract that's basically signed by you and the collection agency, and states that you are going to that you are binded to pay them whatever the debt is. If it's not signed by the collection agency and yourself, then they're not allowed to be collecting debt for anybody. If I know it's dry, but like you read the FCRA. Basically that's the law. Those are the laws that we can use to hold the bureaus accountable. So all this stuff that I'm telling you guys, once you guys get these accounts deleted from your report, you guys are able to collect anywhere from $250 to $1,000. You guys can invoice the bureaus, the collection agencies, anywhere from $250 to $1,000. And what I tell my people, my clients, is that if they're gonna go ahead and do that, go hard and charge them the $1,000. So just don't do the 250. 250 is peanuts. Like you can't really do anything with 250. um, if the collection agency is calling you at your job, all you gotta do is just tell them one time not to call you at your job. And then if they continue doing it, they violated your rights as well. So you guys can turn around and charge them, invoice them $1,000. I'm not even gonna say 250. Invoice them $1,000. Alrighty, Giovanni. We'll talk to you soon, hopefully. Has anybody gotten summoned to court because of a bill? I'm actually helping one of my clients right now because he has an old debt, and they were, I can't remember if it's a collection agency or not. I'm just walking him through it. They sent him to court and they want, it's 5 digits. I can't remember the amount. They want 5 digits from him. So basically what I told them is that he needs to get a contract signed by both whoever's taking him to court and him, in which he agreed to pay him or pay those people the money. And then the ledger. And basically what the ledger does is it's going to show that all the account activity. So it's going to reflect any IRS payments that were done, like credits, any payments that were done by a third party, anything. And if there's an IRS payment on there anywhere, at that point you can get that account discharged. And then turn the tables around and then charge them for losing time from work if you're working a 9 to 5 job. I don't know, emotional something. Just come up with something and then just charge them for that. But you basically, what I'm trying to say is that you turn the tables around, now you're charging them. Do you guys have any other questions? All right, you guys make sure that you turn the alerts on. I'm gonna be jumping on the live sporadically throughout the day or night to answer any questions that you guys might have, and let your people know that I'm answering questions so they can start following me, and hopefully I can help you guys get out of the rat race. That's my goal. All right, guys, I'm gonna jump off. You guys have a great night.